You ever had that kind of experience? You make one mistake, you get into sin in one way, and then pretty soon you're trying to cover it up and you're in stuff, and you end up sinning in a place going, whoa, how in the world did I get here? Well, that's what they mean when they say sin is a slippery slope. But I want to tell you something tonight. I don't believe that's true. I don't think it's the best image, especially in our culture anymore. And the reason is, slippery slopes kind of sound like fun, don't they? I live in Colorado. I live for slippery slopes. I spend a good chunk of the year waiting for the slopes to get slippery so that I can slide down them. I love it. In Colorado, you tell people sin is a slippery slope, they're like, cool, dude. So I don't think that's the best image. So I want to give you another image that I think is a little bit more accurate, a little bit closer to the heart of the issue here. Sin's not slippery, sin is sticky. Sin is sticky. I went to college up at Kent State University. It's kind of northeastern Ohio. It's cold up there, really cold. And one morning I got out of my dorm and I started walking towards my car. And as I got near to my car, I realized there was something wrong with my car. And at first I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It was just weird. The car didn't look right. And as I got closer, I realized the problem was I couldn't see through the windows. They were like dark. And I thought, man, somebody pranked me. I got closer and I was like, this is weird. My windows are brown. It's really strange. And I stuck my key in and I turned it and I started to open the door, and the door wouldn't open at first. So I pulled really hard and it started really slowly to make a noise, but it made like this sucking sound. And there were these strings of stuff hanging off the edges of the door. And I looked in, and the entire interior of my car was coated in a brown sticky substance. And I looked in the back seat and I realized, oh, I left a 12-pack of Coke. And it got insanely cold last night, and it blew. And when I say blew, I don't mean like the side split and it leaked out. I mean it blew. It was unbelievable. There was Coke everywhere. It was in the back floorboards, but it was on the front seats. It was covering the windshield. It was in the back windshield. It was everywhere. It was inside the stereo. I had a tape in there. When I sold that car 7 years later, that tape went with the car. I told him it was free because there was no way to get it out. I cleaned so many cracks and crevices in that car, but it was always there. I could never get away from it. And that, I think, is a much better picture of sin. Sin is sticky, and it gets into the cracks and the crevices in our life, and here's a deep truth for you. Sticky gets stickier. You ever notice that? You get one thing sticky on you, like waffle syrup, and pretty soon you got like a napkin hanging on to you, and a straw, and a fork, and I have a 3-year-old. I know all about this. My 3-year-old's always sticky. Like, she leaves the breakfast table and she goes through the house real quick, and then she comes back in and she's got, like, kittens and books, and she's sticky gets stickier. And that's what happens when sin gets into our lives. It gets into the cracks and the crevices, and it attracts more junk, and it messes us up.